Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening to learn about the Brink Road Bridge Rehabilitation Project, bridge number M0064 over the Great Seneca Creek. My name is Lori Main, and I will be your host this evening. Before we get started, I'd like to go over the Zoom instructions for any of us that may not be familiar with the platform. Okay. All microphones have been muted and cameras turned off. To reduce the bandwidth of tonight's meeting, please do not turn your video camera on. Following tonight's presentation, we will have a comment period. Thereafter, we will have a question and answer session, if time allows. You may type any questions throughout the presentation into the chat icon, into the chat box, the icon for which is at the bottom of your screen. Otherwise, please hold your questions until after the presentation, and then you can click on the React icon, which has a heart on it, and then click Raise Hand. If you dialed in tonight, you will press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. And now I'd like to introduce Brian Copley, who is the chief of the bridge section. Brian?
Thanks, Lori. Hi, good evening. My name is Brian Copley. I'm the manager for the Montgomery County Bridge Program. Thank you for attending our meeting tonight, presented by the Montgomery County Department of Transportation. This virtual meeting is being recorded, and we will provide a link at the end of the presentation where you can watch and listen to the recorded presentation. We will try our best to answer all your questions. However, if we run out of time, you can still submit your questions to our project manager, Mr. Sha-Young Pan, and he will respond to your questions. This meeting is to explain our county project to widen and rehabilitate the Brink Road Bridge number M0064 over Great Seneca Creek. This project will involve the following: rehabilitation and widening of the existing bridge structure with a single-span concrete next beam superstructure, raising and repaving of approach roadways to reduce frequency of flooding, construction of a trail parking lot, and improvements to the Brink Road, Whiteman Road intersection, including signalization. Lori Main is our master of ceremony and technical expert for this virtual presentation. She will be taking care of the virtual chat box and reading questions during the answer and question session. Sha-Young Pan of the Department of Transportation is the project manager for this bridge project. Here to explain the specifics of the project is the project manager, Sha-Young. Thank you. Sha-Young.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank everyone to join us this evening. And my name is Sha-Young Pan. I'm the project manager of the Brink Road Bridge Rehabilitation, which is a Brink Road over Great Seneca Creek. I will start with the introducing the project team, and followed by the some background information, and we will present the project scope and some anticipated impact, estimate the project cost, funding, and the schedule. And finally, we will allow some time for question and feedback. Your feedback is very important, as it allowed the project team to consider and understand the community's concern. All the feedback will be evaluated and considered during the final design. So please move on to the next slide. Possible. Okay. The project team consists of a Montgomery County Department of Transportation, various disciplines, as you can see on the top half of a slide. Also will include the Maryland National Capital Parking and Planning Commission, and Organic Framing is a prime consultant for this project. Montgomery County Department of Transportation is a bridge owner and responsible for managing design, and the construction, secure funding, acquire of a right-of-way or easement, public outreach, collecting communities' input, and coordinating the project with the relevant state and federal transportation agency. The consultant team, led by Mechanic Framing, is providing engineering service to develop construction documents, including design plans, specification, and the construction cost estimate. Mechanic Framing team will also obtain the required permits and will also provide the engineering service during the bidding and the construction. And again, just a quick reminder, please hold any question till the end of our presentation. This slide to show you where the project is located within a circle in the middle of a map. The project is located between Clarksburg and Laytonsville, north of Montgomery Village. The bridge is Brink Road over Great Seneca Creek at the intersection of Whitman and Brink Road. The Brink Road Bridge is within the boundary of the agriculture and the rural open space functional master plan. The 2023 master plan highways and the transitway classify Brink Road as a county connector with 2 lanes. And the Montgomery County Bicycle Master Plan proposed a side path on the south side of the Brink Road. The roadway is posted at a 35 mph speed limit. In 2022, the traffic count of on the bridge is 12,000 vehicles per day during the weekday. The bridge is not listed as a historical structure, but there's a historical mark sign nearby. It says there has been a bridge at this location since about 1800. This slide is standing on the approach near the Whitman and the Brink Road intersection, looking at the bridge. The photo here was taken in February 2024 bridge inspection. Next few slides, we're going to talk about the existing bridge and the bridge condition. The bridge was originally built in 1936 and had major reconstruction in 1972. It is a 58 feet long, 3 foot long steel single span steel beam with asphalt filled on the corrugated metal deck plank. The structure carries 2 lanes traffic. It's over 23 foot and 6 inches clear roadway width. And with what we call the W beam railing on the side. And sitting on the concrete abutment. The bridge is not posted for weight restriction at this point in time. And currently, bridge closed a couple times a year due to the flooding of the Great Seneca Creek. On the picture over here, on the left and the center picture, you can see this is steel beam. Look underneath the bridge. The beam are very closely spaced. And on the right side, you can see the standing in the river, looking at the bridge elevation, and the lower right side is the approach, the similar one as the previous slide. This slide will show you again on the left side is a bridge surface stand on the other side, opposite side of a Whitman and the Brink Road intersection. In the middle of the photo, it shows the steel beam from the outside, excuse me, and the post of a railing. As you can see, these are pretty rusted. And on the right side, you can see the asphalt field on the corrugated metal plank. This is a closer look. The deck, the corrugated deck is being heavily corroded because of the heavy traffic along with the winter treatment. On this slide, you can see underneath the bridge. On the left, the photo shows steel is rusted and pretty heavily rusted and paint are peeling off. And in the middle of the section, middle of the photo, you can see is the between the beam. On the right side, you can see the beam sitting on top of an abutment. All three pictures showing the heavily rusted and the paint are peeling off because the steel beam are closely spaced, and whenever there's debris carried by the flood, it's not easy to get in to clean up and to maintain. Any maintenance work is required. So that's why you see so many rusted section and the section loss and the paint peeling off. This slide will show you the overall view of the project. The project is we propose to replace the existing bridge steel beam and the deck, but also the bridge will try to stabilize the string underneath of the bridge, including the installation of a riprap slope protection and the scour countermeasure. The project, as we mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, the project also will provide for repaving and raise the roadway profile slightly, and approximately 400 feet approach roadway work northwest of the bridge to reduce the flooding frequency, and also improve the intersection on the Whitman Road and the Brink Road, and on the approach on the intersection size, about 20 feet of the roadway will be improved, repaved, and also the I'm sorry. We also will put in the parking lot on the southeast corner, and the two stormwater management pond in the corner, and on the other and also on the other side of the Brink Road. And we also would propose to install the traffic signal at the intersection. The proposed bridge will carry two 11-foot travel lanes and plus 6-foot shoulder on both sides, so give you overall of a 34 feet clear roadway width. The proposed bridge will be the same length, which is 58 foot 3 inches long, single span, with the precast pre-stressed concrete double T-beams with a minimum 8.5-inch concrete overlay, carry two 11-foot lengths and a 6-foot shoulder, so give you over 34 feet clear roadway width, and will also include a 1-foot-8 curb and a 3-foot-6 high metal railing on both sides, So total out-to-out bridge width is 37 feet 4 inches. This shows you the proposed abutment and the wing wall. We try to rehabilitate the existing abutment. Since the proposed bridge will be wider, so we will make the abutment wider on the west side of the bridge abutment, make a wider abutment to accommodate the wider bridge. This aerial photo to show you the project. And as you can see, Great Seneca Creek is diagonally across the from the pictures, and Brink Road from the upper left side going down to the lower right side, and Whitman is going down in the middle. This rendering picture to show you what the project will look like. Keep in mind, artistic rendering here may not represent the final design. This, as you can see in the corner of the Brink and the Whitman Road, there's a parking lot, and there are two proposed stormwater management ponds. This shows you the detour. It's roughly 7.5 miles detour route. Looking from Brink and the Whitman Road. If we look at clockwise, there will be Whitman Road, Montgomery Village Avenue, Apple Ridge Road, Watkins Mill Road, Germantown Road, Frederick Road, which is Route 355, Ridge Road, and back to Brink Road. Oh, the total is roughly 7.5 miles. Now we come to the project scope, funding, and the square that we stand. Currently, the project is in a preliminary design stage, and it will have 80% of federal funding, 20% of county funding. We current estimate is $900,000 for the engineering cost, and $5.7 million for construction and the construction management. And currently, our estimate, the design will estimate to be completed in the fall of 2027, and to allow bidding, advertising and bidding, award a contract. So, and the current estimate, the construction was started in the summer of 2028 and finished in the spring of 2029. Once the preliminary design is completed and reviewed, the next step is of the project is to proceed with the final design based on the comment we received tonight, and also review based on the list of agency. And as you can see, there are very different discipline agency that will review. And also, the project team welcome any comments you may have given tonight. After tonight, you will have up to 4 weeks through May 28, 2025, to provide the project team with your comments. You may send your comment by using the online comment form, or you can email to me at shanyong@montgomerycountymd.gov. Now I'm conclude my presentation, and thank you so much for your attention. Now we move to the question and answer session. The project team would be glad to hear your concern and the comments. So as Gloria mentioned in the beginning, you can start to ask your question.
Okay. Thank you, Shane Young. We do have a few people that have signed up in advance to speak. First, we'll hear from Crystal Bevins. Or excuse me, Bivens. I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I actually know Dan Sheridan. I went to school with him back in elementary school, but thank you so much for allowing me to speak this evening. I actually have lots of different comments. I've been actually a resident on Blunt and Brink Road right next to the bridge. I've seen the bridge get overwhelmed with water, and I've also seen it degrade over the past 30 years. So one of the things that we had seen in one of the plans from several years ago is that there was a walkway for pedestrians, and I see that that has been removed. I also did speak to Mr. Copley. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but he had mentioned that because the bridge is in such severe condition at this point in time that they were going to be doing a deck replacement this summer. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but Brink Road has become the inter-county connector between 70 and 270. So I want to make sure that the bridge, when it's going to be renovated, first of all, I would like to see a truck restriction. I don't know why we can't have a weight limit on that, just to at least keep it going for the next couple of years. But, we have probably close to 2 to 3 dozen 18-wheelers that come through on a daily basis. So I want to make sure that when this bridge is being designed, that it's going to think about that. I mean, I'd love to have the trucks diverted, but I don't, unless we have another roadway, I don't know how easy that's going to be. Also, you've considered a traffic stop. There is a new traffic light that's been put in less than 1/3 of a mile from that intersection. So I was kind of interested to find out how that was going to work in tandem with the new one that's been replaced at the corner of Brink and Blunt. And additionally, what improvements are going to be done at the intersection to reduce and prevent accidents? We just had a 7-car pileup not more than a couple months ago at that intersection, and it's mostly because the bridge is in a valley, and so you have multiple cars coming from 2 different directions. As you saw, Brink and Whiteman kind of meet in a V before the bridge, and having a stoplight means that traffic that's coming down the Whiteman area and the Brink area are going to be at higher speeds, and I'm just wondering how that's going to kind of work. Also, there was a parking lot that was supposed to go on the eastern side of the bridge, and it's now been moved to the corner slot, which actually is privately owned. I understand that the park and planning is actually holding up the construction of this bridge because they are asking for the adjacent property to be purchased by the county. According to Lutke's office, they had said that that was the case, that she was going to put an end to it. So I don't know where that stands. And then I think that, just kind of looking at where that parking lot's going to go, it really doesn't make sense because it's coming out right where the intersection is. And I think there's only like 5 spaces. We have approximately 20 to 40 people that are lining up and down the road, and that's what's causing pedestrian accidents and car accidents. So we really need to have that parking lot shifted over into the original area, which was the east side of Brink Road. Before the intersection, it actually took the whole property length, which would make a lot more sense. What people are doing is parking on the shoulder, and they're walking across a walkway, and people are turning, also making U-turns there. So I think that some design improvements definitely need to be made at that intersection. And I'm trying to think what other things that I can bring up. The bridge is in severe repair. I think the biggest concern that a lot of us neighbors have is that I understand there's a 7.5-mile detour. However, they are going to use Blunt Road, and they are going to use Blunt Road and Hunt Master. No one's going to go in that 7.5-mile detour. They're going to use Waze, and Waze is going to circle. And you're talking about an entire year. We have about 20,000 cars that come up and down Brink Road. And my concern is that people will find a way if it's easier. And so the best way for them to do it right now, they come down Montgomery Village to Whiteman to up to Brink. Now they're going to come down Montgomery Village to Apple Ridge to Watkins to Blunt to Brink. Blunt is a very windy road. It doesn't even have, it's not even 2 lanes really. I mean, it's just a small little rural road with very, very sharp turns and a bridge that was also, I think, restored probably about a decade ago. So my concern is that shutting down the bridge, where's the traffic going to go? And it's the only way that it can go is going to be through these communities. So those are my concerns. I know I've said a lot. I mean, I don't want to take up all the time, but they are really big concerns that the whole community has. And I just don't know if all those items have been considered when putting this project together, because I'm seeing holes in the project, and I'm a little concerned about the delay as well. I mean, we were told it was going to be in 22, then 23, then 24. The CIP said fiscal year 26. We got a letter from Elrich just about a month ago, and it said, no, they're deferring it until 2027, 28. So it just seems like it keeps getting deferred. I'm just concerned about the safety of the bridge and the volume of traffic that's going through it. So anyway, thank you for letting me speak. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but I just wanted to mention those items. So thank you.
Thank you, Crystal.
Great. I really appreciate your concern and the comments. I will try to address as much as I could. I may have missed a couple of them. First of all, the proposed bridge will be designed for all the legal load in Maryland. So with that in mind, it's not in county's liberty to ban a certain kind of a truck. We don't have authority to do that. So I understand your concern, but currently the older bridge design within the state of Maryland has to comply with the design specification, and which means the bridge has designed is able to carry all the legal load in Maryland. So with that in mind, we probably cannot put a post load restriction on the bridge. And you are right about the repave the bridge this summer, because the bridge project has been postponed for so long. So we're going to repave the pavement on the road bridge surface. As for the parking lot, that's after long negotiation with the National Capital Park and Planning Commission. So I understand being moved back and forth to different location, and current location is in the southeast corner of our Brink and Whitman Road. And with that, and there are 2 stormwater management ponds was proposed. So this is under long negotiation with the Park and the Planning Commission. So that again, the number of a parking lot, we have one of the slide to indicate, but this artistic rendering may not represent the final design. The number of a parking lot, we're still in the preliminary design stage. As for the traffic improvement signal, we're going to install the signal at the Brink and the Whitman Road intersection. So hopefully that will help. For the detour, this is the proposed detour. We understand probably driver not going to follow, certain driver not going to follow the detour sign. They will find their way. Again, the county doesn't have authority to tell the driver which way to drive. We can recommend it, but we cannot tell them which way to drive. And for the property acquisition, this is still too premature. We still try to work with the Maryland SHA, State Highway Administration, to get a certain permits. So we have not reached the property acquisition stage yet. but the proposed location is the one after long negotiation with the Park and Planning Commission. Did I miss anything else? What did I miss? Remind me again.
No, I think that you touched upon a couple of them. With the proposed detour, the concern, I think, is that communities are going to have a large volume of traffic. So I don't know if there's any way that you can close it to like just make it for residential rather than like community. I don't know if there's any way to do that. But I mean, we're already overwhelmed with the additional traffic going down these small roads. So that is a bit of a concern. I mean, I think that we just need to understand what the plan is. And I think that, you know, the GGCA, which is the Greater Goshen Civic Association, and many of the residents that are in this area would really like to be a part of this planning to understand what's going to happen. Closing down that bridge for 1 year, honestly, I would think that there would be some other type of solution. Perhaps maybe building 1-lane bridge and then having traffic go over that, and then, you know, at least keeping it open to keep the traffic going. I guess I'm a little confused on the restriction of trucks, because we have Watkins Mill Road is restricted to trucks. So there are other places in here that are restricted to trucks over bridges. So I don't know why we couldn't put a weight restriction, especially right now until the road gets renovated, so it wouldn't damage the bridge as much. But anyway, just a few comments after.
Proposing to close the road.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brian?
We're not proposing to close the road for a year. That's not what the road's only going to be closed for like 2 months during the summer, 3 months. The rest of the construction will be done with maintenance of traffic. We have to close the road to remove the bridge and put the new bridge in. And we will do accelerated construction techniques as we will incorporate those into the final design, and we'll incorporate an disincentive for the contractor to get the bridge opened back up as soon as possible. So it's not going to be for a full year. It's just going to be a short temporary, 3-month roadway closure during summer when school's out and everyone's on vacation and traffic's lighter. So.
Great, thank you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mention that we utilize the precast pre-stressed concrete superstructure beams, so that will accelerate the construction. So when I mentioned construction was started in the summer of 28 and finish in the spring of 29, that's overall. But in the meantime, the bridge and road will not be completely closed for that entire period.
Okay, next we have Delphine Bao. Delphine? Okay, we'll give her a moment to work with her microphone. Next, let's see, Kevin Linick. Kevin, can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Very good. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for putting this on. My name is Kevin Link. I'm the president of the East Village with like 1,400 homes in the community. And we're attached to Montgomery Village. One of the concerns of our neighbors is how long it's going to take to get this road and bridge back together. I don't see the people coming 7 miles to go, and then plus those roads are only 25 miles an hour down Apple Ridge. So there's definitely going to be a backup. I see going to back way, and going to Home Depot and all the places that people normally go to, and Walmart and all those stores over in that community, where they now use that road down Brink to get there. So I'm kind of concerned with the disruption in the community and how many cars that are there, as well as the increase of cars with the new golf course being redeveloped. That's going to add a lot more cars to the traffic uh, to go through those particular roads. The time frame for under construction, I'm concerned about for a whole year of people, will get very frustrated, I think, driving 7 extra miles to get back to where they were going, and then have to go back down 355 to get to the shopping areas and the restaurants. So that's going to be a major concern with the people here in the village, and they're not going to be happy with sitting right now. They sit on Montgomery Village Avenue on a Saturday, taking 3 or 4 lights to get through. So I'd really like you to consider the traffic patterns and the traffic jam of what's going to happen when you do have a stop sign there or a light put in place. It'll add to the backup, I think, rather than hinder it rather than help it. And so I'm really concerned with the backup of the 7 miles and what could happen. But other than that, I appreciate you all coming on board and announcing what you plan on doing. I am concerned with the parking lot being so small, and it looks like they have to then, a lot of people go on the west side down with the waters a little bit wider, and they park on the side of the road. And it is dangerous driving by there at 35 miles an hour and people getting out of their car to go down to the water. So I really would offer to say, look at more on the west side than the east side if you can get access to it, because the people will then have to cross the street or cars are zipping by, which would make it pretty difficult to get to the other side. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for your time and participation, and I look forward to where things go from here.
Thank you,
Yep.
Kevin.
I appreciate your comment. Again, we just mentioned, indicate the construction time, even though it's overall it's just from summer 2028 to the spring 2029, but that's the including the mobilization or the time. So, but actually the bridge will be closed. Our estimate the bridge will be closed for about 2 months during the summer break time. So we try to minimize the disruption, and that's why we choose the type of structure, which is a precast, pre-stressed concrete beam, and where we can accelerate the construction, make the disruption will be the shortest to the minimum. As for the parking lot, that's after a long negotiation with the Parking and Planning Commission. That's the one they agree upon. So we can also always bring back to them, have a discussion, but this is where our current, how do we come up with right now?
I understand.
Okay, great. Next, we'll hear from Greg Wim. Greg?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. I'll see if I can get my video on. But what I wanted to say, thank you very much first for coming on and presenting this. I'm sixth generation native of the area, Town, Town, so we know the bridge very well. One of the concerns I did have, and Crystal mentioned that earlier, was the fact of all the trucks, 18-wheelers and so forth coming in. And I heard your response, so I just wanted to say that I'm going to write to the state, because I'm a state delegate. I should say state delegate Greg Wims. So I will be writing to the state to see what we might be able to do at the state level to try to keep those 18-wheelers from coming in. So I wanted the public to know that, and yourself at the Department of Transportation for the county. And then the last question I wanted to ask, when I was looking at the slides, what is the estimated total cost of the bridge now? I thought it was 5.7, but I want to make sure I got the numbers correct.
Yeah, the estimate construction and the construction management cost is 5.7 million at this point in time.
Okay, then. With that, thank you. And that's all I had. I just wanted to make sure I'm going to try to work with the state to keep those 18-wheelers off of that road. So thank you
Appreciate that.
very much. Yes.
Okay, let's see. Anthony, oops, he just disappeared. Okay, let's go. Oh, he's got his hand raised. We're going to next hear from Anthony Lozupone, and I'm so sorry if I have mispronounced your name, sir.
No, that's quite all right. Thank you guys again for your time and hosting this event. I hear a lot of concern about the commercial trucks. As a commercial truck driver, I can tell you this. A lot of times those weight restrictions are ignored. It's just a reality. Truckers are doing their best and stuff to get around. It's going to be very difficult to, stop it. Like you said, it's just the reality. Um, Unfortunately. As far as the traffic, the detour and everything, I understand everybody's concern. Does the county give thought to, like in this example, if you were taking Apple Ridge and you get to Montgomery Village, it's a pretty short cycle of the light. Will they look at things like that and maybe change the light cycles, to give a little bit more time for people to get through from, say, Apple Ridge to Montgomery Village to kind of keep the traffic flowing, and stop some of those backups and the concerns that people have in the neighborhoods as far as the detour goes. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to have to do that as part of our final design. We're going to have to look at the intersections and the single timing and work with our colleagues in the Division of Traffic on that. So
Okay. And also, I know they have a tendency to take up a lot of space as a traffic circle at the intersection. Has that been considered at all? Or I know some people love them, some people don't, versus a traffic light, just to kind of keep the flow going around there. Obviously, the light at Blunt will help, break up the traffic and slow the traffic, coming down to the intersection to the bridge. Was there any thought given to a traffic circle? Is it something they're going to consider? And I know one of the problems is people do pick up speed coming down there, and when you come past Blunt, it is a bit of a blind right turn, and people come up on stop traffic, and I think that causes a lot of problems as well. Hopefully the light will help that out a little bit. But yeah, a traffic circle there, is that a consideration?
um, we have not considered traffic circle. You are right that they take a lot of right of way. Um, I I do believe traffic circles are the most efficient way to move traffic, but
Agreed.
but no, uh, we don't have the right of way to do a traffic circle there.
Yeah, that was my thought. I know the space between the creek and just the whole area, and then the parking for people for the park. They do take up a little bit of space. So, all right, folks, thanks you very much. That's all I had to offer, and I appreciate it. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
And as far as traffic calming on Brink Road, that could potentially be a future CIP project to improve Brink Road to slow down traffic. But we're focused on replacing the bridge structure. We have to put a new bridge there. This bridge is a maintenance problem, one huge maintenance problem. And the type of structure there was never meant to carry all this traffic. Every time a vehicle drives over it, the structure vibrates, and the welds that connect the decking to the beams fatigue over time, along with the corrosion that occurs from the salt dumped on the road in the winter. And so the decking keeps coming loose, and that's why you have in that photo Xiang showed where you have all the patching on there. That's our maintenance crews constantly going out there, re-welding the decking and paving, patching so the structure we're going to put in is going to be a much more durable structure, and um, all the maintenance issues are going to go away. So, all right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Next question.
Oh, thank you, Brian. Next, we'll hear from Barry Timothy.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for hosting this tonight. And my name's Tim Berry. And I've lived at Brink and Blunt now for over 35 years, right across the road from Crystal, actually. So I've seen the history of the bridge. I got quite a few comments to make. One on the location, that location of that lot, that thing has developed over time. That path down there, that nature path, it didn't used to be there, and it's kind of grown over time. And it's become progressively more popular. And at one time when it first started, it got improved and they started using it. They had no protection along the side of the road coming down Reitman. It was just cars were free to come down, and they were mixing with people that were parking on the side of the road. So the county put in some pedestrian sort of separation on the side of the road, which actually kind of worked. But it's still a very, very dangerous area with people flying down that hill. And I don't care if you put that parking lot on that side, it is just a question of time till somebody gets killed. It just is. And we've been fortunate so far. You'd be better off not putting anything, in my opinion. But all that's going to do is show that the county mishandled the business, and I don't think you want to be in that position. The second thing is the detail going over to Davis Mill and then up to Huntmaster. That bridge over there is a single lane bridge. So cars have to take, and not only is it single lane across the bridge, it's single lane on one side. And it's a very short little, the traffic engineers would just hold up their head. You're going to have people 20, 30 cars deep in the morning trying to one goes across the bridge, waits for the other one comes across the bridge. It's going to be, you have no idea how many cars will go over there. Virtually most of the people that are coming across there will go try to cross that bridge. It will be massive. So that's not really a solution. If you don't stop people from going over that bridge over there, it's, the first day you're going to get 1,000 calls, I'll guarantee you. You just have to see what's there. It's simply can't be used as a temporary detour. It's not even adequate now for what it does now. The other comment I have is basically, and I think the engineer there, and I know you're restricted by funds, but basically what you're doing is repairing the bridge. I know it's a new bridge, but you're not really addressing the traffic issue. You're just basically making it so it doesn't fall and you don't have to maintain it, which I understand that. But it's 3 years out, and we've been faced with how Brink has developed over the years due to the intercounty. What is it, Crystal? I can't think. What's the correct term? The interconnector that now has been officially canned. It was never built, so all these cars are now coming cross county down that road. I mean, it's 12,000 cars. What's it going to be in 2030 when that area continues to grow? So you're not really addressing the traffic. So now the backup on Brink in the morning extends half a mile up that hill during the week, and in the evening it extends up the other side up Reitman probably a third of a mile. So with what you're doing, putting signalization in there is, if anything, is just going to make it worse, because the system is old-fashioned as it is, where people get up to that three-way intersection and they kind of wait for people to go. Actually works as good as it can get, because they can make a right turn if it's open. And now if you do a signalization on a two-lane bridge, which means everybody stop, and then you go, once some go left, go right, it's going to back up traffic worse than ever. So my personal opinion is that you and I know you probably don't. The killer on this is probably parks and planning, because they're not giving you any land. You really need to put 2 lanes across, 3 lanes total, but 2 lanes so that the people can bypass coming down Brink and they can go up Reitman if it's, if they can have a right turn if it clears, or they can wait in the lane to go left up Brink continued. You're not really addressing the traffic flow. All you're doing is trying to get rid of a maintenance problem. And in 2028 and 2030, it's inadequate now. It's going to be unbelievably inadequate then. And just as a comment, my background, I am a civil engineer and I'm a licensed civil engineer. I am not a traffic engineer, although I went to many a traffic class when I attended Northwestern University. So, I'm speaking as somebody that works around the industry, and I think you're making a terrible mistake on. And I know it's restricted by money, but that you're going to build something that's going to be failing from the start. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Tim.
I really appreciate your concern and the comment. I really do. But we can, as you just indicate, there's a funding issue. We can only address one issue at a time. So for this particular Brink Road Bridge, we address the bridge issue and the road, Brink Road, Whitman Road, on both directions. It's not within the scope of this project. Certainly hope. I'm sorry. I'm certainly hope we will have a funding to address those issues as soon as possible, but that's not within the scope of this project. I'm sorry to say that.
Okay, next we have Kathleen Senkowski.
Good evening. Thank you. First of all, there's a couple comments. We in the neighborhood don't agree with that there's only 12,000 cars going through our neighborhood because the traffic study prior to that was in 2015 before Clarksburg was built. So, it's hard to believe that it only increased by 2,000 cars a day when you allow 30,000 people to move in there without a road. And I'm curious as to when are you going to do a noise study, or is that going to be part of this or not? The other thing I want to mention, there is a bridge restriction on Snover School. Whiteman Road turns into Snover School, and as soon as it does, there's a sign that says there's a weight limit. Which, by the way, we met with Mr. Paler of MCDOT, and he told me there is technology to catch truckers who are driving through areas that they should not be driving through. I agree with Mr. Timothy that is probably the worst place for that parking lot because that is coming down a hill on a curve and it's blind and it's very scary. It's very scary there. And there are constant accidents at the intersection now. It would make more sense to me to put the parking lot on the Brink Road or where the county owns the land, which gets me to, I guess you all have not considered the impact that parking lot is going to be making to the well and septic for the two houses that abut that. They will be losing their second alternate septic area from the size of what I saw. The last thing I want to point out is that, we recently had a wildfire in the park right across the road from this, caused by people visiting the park. And I think you are going to have to restrict with some sort of permanent fencing around that parking lot to stop people from going into the adjoining properties, because I got to tell you, that goes on now, and it goes on when they have a managed hunt, and it goes on all year long. And this whole proposition of a possible wildfire is very scary to us who live here. So thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you so much for the comment. Traffic count is the number I receive, and that was stated in 2022. I can always go back and ask them again, but that's what I have. Did you mention the noise walls? I didn't catch that one. Did you say the noise wall or something? Yeah, okay. That's not within the scope of this project at this point in time. So And for the truck restriction, as I indicated earlier, the bridge will be designed to allow all the Maryland legal load. So we don't have authority to, if once the bridge is designed for certain load, we cannot tell the truck not to cross it. We don't have authority to do that.
Well, except that I'm pointing out to you that just a little further down the road is a sign restricting on the same road over a bridge, restricting weight loads. So there's something not, connecting here about that issue.
Yeah, but the
I'm
posting.
glad to send you a picture of the sign.
I believe you. I certainly believe you. But in the meantime, the bridge posting sign is bridge specific. Every single bridge that will be load rated to indicate how much capacity the load the bridge can take. At this point in time, the current bridge and the proposed bridge well designed to handle all the legal load within Maryland.
Mhm.
So even though half mile, 1/4 mile down the road, the other bridge is posted, but that posting sign is only specific for that particular bridge. So again, it's something you cannot post on this particular bridge because this particular Brink Road bridge existing and the proposed bridge is capable of handle all the legal load within Maryland. So we don't have authority to post a sign for the bridge capable of handle all the truck legal load within the state. So we just cannot post it.
Okay, next we have Bob Nelson.
Good evening, and thank you for holding this very good discussion about what is happening up in Goshen. I'm a past chair of the Up County Citizens Advisory Board, and I live in the neighborhood where everyone's going to be passing through to make the shorter detour around the bridge and the closure. And my questions are, based on the history that I've lived in Goshen, there have been several projects that have maintained traffic flow. For instance, over the Goshen branch, that bridge was replaced and full traffic flow was maintained. And what they did is they just put the bridge a little bit off to the side and did part of it, and then they did the second half later. And so that seems like a viable alternative to what you're talking about. And when you say you're going to take the top off the Huntmaster Bridge, I mean, when you would talk off the Brink Road Bridge, a few years ago, the plan was to have Huntmaster Road closed for 5 weeks and take the top off. Well, when they took the top off, they said the beams are bad, so the project had Huntmaster closed for 3 times as much as what was in the planning. Davis Mill Road had a problem with the same Seneca Creek, and it needs stabilization. So what they did simply there was put up a traffic light on either end, maintain traffic flow going on a single lane. The state does that all the time. 94 up at Interstate 70 just had a bridge replaced. They maintained 1 lane of traffic in both directions. That could be done. This is not a small traffic area. When you think of, as Kathleen was saying, the numbers, maybe 15,000 cars a day. You realize per lane, that's as much traffic as the Key Bridge that collapsed in Baltimore. This is a major project. And for those of us who are in the neighborhood, we are just going to be overwhelmed with cut through traffic. I have a question though. I see ponds. I hear people saying there are not enough parking spaces for people to be at the park, but why are we taking up space for ponds when we have a creek right next to there? So I appreciate all the discussion, but I think we need to look at the alternatives to maintain traffic flow at all. I mean, I don't think that's I used to work for NASA, so I don't think that's rocket science. I think it's just you take a little longer to do the project, but you do it in sections. And there seems to be an aversion about taking up more space in the park. And from our experience in Goshen, back in about 10 years ago, our Goshen Branch Stream Valley Park was taken over, and a main 25 acres where the trees of a foot in diameter and larger were cut down, and 4 feet of the soil was removed to create wetlands. I mean, wetlands, and that was like $100,000 an acre to create wetlands. I mean, to say I'm not going to touch that wetland, which is a foot away from the bridge, is ridiculous. This is a major project. I mean, you could even see the project saying, let's build a bridge beside it, the whole bridge, and then reshift the approaches and make that happen. When you're talking about only $1 million of county funds that are going to be used because you're going to get 80% federal, I just don't understand it. I've been going to the county council meetings for quite a few years and advocating for this bridge, and the schedule keeps going to the right. This year it's going several years to the right. And I just don't understand why. I mean, we pay taxes up county, and we're not getting the services that down county has. They got $10 billion to build the Purple Line. Why can't we get $1 million to build the bridge over Brink Road? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, thank you so much. Let me address as much as I'm allowed to. For all the lands, we according to regulation, we have to maintain 11-foot wide clear roadway for each lane. So the overall the bridge currently we have a 23.5 feet clear roadway. So in order to maintain 11 feet length for one lane road, we need at least another couple more feet. So that's we don't have that road, a clear roadway to maintain one lane traffic during construction at this point of time. So partial closing, of course that's the first thing we thought of, we're considering, but because the geometric restriction, maintain one lane is unlikely for this particular bridge. And build a temporary bridge next to the existing bridge during the construction. Like you may indicate, we currently don't have a funding source for that at this point in time. So that's a fact. That's a fact. What else did I miss?
You're concerned about what happened on Huntmaster is not going to happen here. I remember Huntmaster. That was probably my fault. I was involved in that, but that's not going to happen here. I guarantee it.
Well, thank you for assuring us that thing. But I mean, since you have the history, when I bring up Goshen Branch, the Brink Road, a bridge just east of Goshen Road, and they maintaining traffic flow there. I don't understand what's different in the configuration here than with the one over Seneca Creek.
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, so I don't.
Well, I think you all ought to look into that because it's part of the history of the Montgomery County Department of Transportation. It's just a short distance east of Goshen Road, Goshen Brink interchange, and there's a sign there about Goshen Mills that the Greater Goshen Civic Association put up. And so this bridge was maintained with full traffic flow while the two sections were done. It was, I think it was done because of, well, obviously it was narrow, just like this one. It seems to me like the only difference I can see is that, and by the way, this is right next to Goshen Branch Stream Valley Park. So I don't know why the park gets involved into this discussion, but I think that that's a viable option. I mean, it just seems natural. I mean, not necessarily the temporary bridge that Mr. Wong brought up, but the idea of just you're increasing the widths of the concrete abutment. So if you put the abutment, maybe you put the new one in alongside, maybe a lot wider than you normally would have done to make sure you can get at least one lane of traffic on that. It seems like that would be a viable alternative, and I think that's what they were doing there. So I would just suggest that you perhaps look into that, because that's maintaining full traffic flow is certainly a lot more beneficial to the community than closing the bridge for 3 months or more.
We will look into it.
Okay, next we'll hear from John Spendrick. John, can you unmute?
Hello.
Hi.
So I live on Blunt Road, actually up the road from Crystal. But so basically, a while back, so after the new bridge was put in a while back, which I guess your office did, um, nice big trucks started coming up there, and I think you guys should drive that road because there is a really sharp turn, and about every 6 months to a year, an 18-wheeler gets stuck on that turn because they're going up a hill, and if they aren't going fast enough or a car is coming down, they actually can't actually make the turn, and they actually get their truck completely stuck, and they have to bring a big hauler in. And I did get them to put a big sign up back on the other side, basically about a winding road. So I know the county can put signs up, but I would highly recommend that you try to put some better signs up to stop 18-wheelers coming through, unless the county really wants to subsidize, wants to support the heavy wrecker industry. Because if you really start having a lot of trucks coming through, which I know they will, but I do think that's something to consider. Probably worse on the other side, but at least on our side, I know, a few trucks do come through every once in a while. And each time I actually wonder, how many. I mean, the last one was actually about 2 months ago or something, and it just takes hours, and then it drops, basically stops the whole road. The second thing has to do with the no walkway. I will say I'm actually kind of shocked. Not that I really like what the county's doing with taking up all the the sides of roads and narrowing roads. I didn't know it was actually allowed in this county. I mean, to a certain extent, I'd say allowed, quote unquote, that you could build a bridge without a pedestrian walkway. So are you at least going to consider taking one of those 6 foot or 8 foot sides and doing what I've done, like say on Middlebrook Road, where they take a lane and they put in, those barriers for people to either walk or bike across the bridge. The third thing, if I understood, maybe I misunderstood, but I think you said your traffic study you're relying upon is 2022. Can you shake your head if that was correct? Okay, so last time I checked, 2022 was during COVID. I think if you did a traffic study today, just like in the last 2 months, as you're probably aware, traffic has gotten much, much worse because suddenly you have another 40 to 50% of all the feds going to work. So it's not hard for people to put up one of those, traffic counter across the road and do another traffic study. But I would be shocked if the study today came back the way as 2022. Because 2022 is better than 2020, but 2022 was still, it's much, much less than today. I mean, today the traffic's much worse. I will say perfectly, 2020 was perfect. I thought it was the only time I could drive down 270. There was no one on the road. Best time ever to drive. Never happened again in my life. But if you're relying upon a traffic study from 22, that's not accurate today. So I think you need to do another traffic study. And literally, I mean, I bet, what is it, $1,000? I mean, you guys should own the equipment just to put one of those counters across the road and just count it. Because I really do think it'll be very different than what you're using.
We can get another count done.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, John. Next, we'll hear from Barb S.
Hello. Yeah, thank you. I've got one question. You said the bridge is typically closed a couple times a year because of flooding, and I don't recall you saying anything about changing the elevation of this replacement bridge. So do you expect, I mean, assuming rainfall continues, more or less as it has been, do you expect flooding to continue and then these, closures for flooding? Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
we're going to raise the road on the northwest end slightly along with the bridge. So we try to minimize the road being flooded. So we're going to raise slightly, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Okay, let's hear from Cindy Moore. Cindy? Cindy, you're unmuted. Oh. Well, I guess she's having trouble with her audio. In the interim, we do have a question in the chat from Charles Hendricks. He would like to know how many cars will be able to park in the new parking lot. Will the parking still be allowed on the shoulder along Whiteman Road?
Currently, we are in the preliminary stage of design a parking lot, so I cannot give you exact number. As for the park on the road, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, and Barb S. would like to speak again. Barb?
Let me ask one quick question. I thought one of your slides earlier said something about this would be a 4-lane bridge, but you've been saying 2-lane. Did I miss something, or is it a 2-lane bridge or a 4-lane bridge? That's my other question.
This will be 2-lane bridge. Each lane is 11 feet wide, plus 2 6-foot wide shoulders. So altogether, the clear bridge roadway width is 34 feet.
Okay, that is all I have. Would anyone else like to ask a question? To raise your hand, you will click on the react icon, that is the icon with the heart on it, and then you will click raise hand. Alternatively, if you dialed in, press *9. Oh, we do have some more hands. Let's hear from Tim Berry.
Yeah, thanks again. With all this conversation about redoing a traffic study, I guess my question is what is the extent of the traffic study that's been done so far along Brink Road? I mean, you all just installed traffic lights at Brink and Blunt, so there must be studies, right, that indicate what's happening along Brink, I assume, and I'm not sure when you talk about those lights in that proximity and what's going on now with traffic. I mean, literally in the morning, traffic backs up along Brink Road, I don't know, over a half mile. And so now you've got a light, additional light, and then you're going to a 2-lane road that's really going to be more restricted than the 2-lane road that they have now because the traffic is free to flow now with no lights. So now you're going to have duplicated lights, in essence, just 2-lane roads. And I don't understand, hasn't a full traffic study been done along this entire section of road for, say, I don't know, mile, whatever it is in each direction to indicate what's really going on?
We'll coordinate with our colleagues in the Division of Traffic. We'll see what they've done. I wasn't aware of the new light at Blunt Road.
Hey, Brian, just to be clear, this new light they put in my opinion, doesn't really match any particular standards other than something that you might see out in a country road somewhere. I mean, the poles, they put in new poles that are literally feet from the traffic way. I mean, these people are flying along this road at 45, 50 miles an hour, and they've stuck telephone poles in a few feet away, and that's what's holding up these traffic lights. Now, my observation on that is everybody's trying to get by cheap out here. And, we've got some serious traffic coming out of Clarksburg. And just maybe you guys can only do what you can do. I get that. But just repairing that bridge so it doesn't fall into the creek isn't answering any questions. It's just, if you put it in, it'll have to be, within a few years, it'll probably have to be taken out, is my 2 cents. So anyway.
I hope not.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Next, we'll hear from Charles Hendricks.
Thank you very much. I must say that I find your plans quite well thought out, and I'm hoping you can comment on some things that have been attacked, and I think unjustly so. One thing I've heard is that having a traffic light will slow down traffic. My observation is a three-way stop is more likely to back up because everybody has to stop. And when you have a traffic light, traffic flows in one or another direction, sometimes in two directions at once. And so you don't have constant stopping. It moves faster. And the other thing that I think hasn't been adequately considered is that Seneca Creek is an important natural resource. We have a park that runs through that corridor with trails, and it's a popular recreation site. And constructing a new bridge at a different site in order to retain traffic is bound to have a detrimental environmental impact. And so I'm wondering if you could tell the audience tonight whether you've considered the possible benefits of a traffic light and the value of the environmental value of Seneca Creek in developing your plans.
Our Division of Traffic, they were the ones that approached us about signalizing the intersection there, based on their warrant analysis for the intersection. So that was not originally part of the scope, but it was added to it. And it's their belief that it will improve the traffic flow on at the intersection there. The Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, which owns all the land adjacent to this bridge, are very much involved in this project, and they are very much concerned about their parks and the impacts of the project to the park and the environmental impacts. So they are a lot of the driving force in how we are proposing to do the project. The Great Seneca Creek there, it's really challenging. It's a really balancing act that we have to do in our engineering, because we run the risk of we're widening the bridge, the roadway there, which causes the water to slow down as it goes through there and back up behind the bridge there. And there's a potential of flooding private properties. And the Maryland MDE is the regulatory authority over the Great Seneca Creek and the flooding. If we start flooding private properties upstream from there, then we get put into situations where we have to buy the properties. So it took a long time for us to come up with our design the way it is and avoid flooding people's private properties. And it's things have gotten way more restrictive. I've been doing this for over 25 years, and it's just gotten more restrictive and difficult to do these projects. So we're doing the best we can to get these done, and we have to replace this bridge. So thank you for your comments.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll hear from Cindy Moore. I think Cindy may still be having trouble with her microphone, but she did send a message in the chat. She says, I'm the board president of Meadow Ridge Villas off of Prathertown. We already get lots of traffic coming into our community to turn around. Now it will be worse. We're a senior community that can't have increased traffic in our community. Currently, there is a tiny no outlet sign attached to the street sign at Prathertown and Whiteman. Will there be a large no outlet sign at the beginning of Prathertown and Whiteman?
Can you repeat that question, Lori?
So she wants to know so apparently there is a tiny no outlet sign at Prathertown and Whiteman. And she wants to know if a larger sign will replace that one.
Wait,
I think that.
And what's the road again? Prathertown and
Whiteman.
Okay.
I think that would be separate from this project, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah, that's outside the limits of our project, but we can bring this up to our division of traffic. So that she wants a larger no outlet sign, is that
correct? Yes. You can I'm gonna put the traffic division email in the chat. You can request a larger sign via email to the traffic division. Let's see. Next, we have another question from Bob Nelson.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to do a follow-up with Brian talking about the water backing up. It seems to me that the current length of the bridge is 58 feet. The new length of the bridge is 58 feet. If you don't want to have the water backing up, why aren't we making the length of the bridge 70, 80, 90 feet wide so the water can flow under the bridge with a wider right of way.
Then you start flooding properties downstream.
Oh.
Right now, this is the natural state of the road, of the creek. You know, if we start opening it up, there's a private property just direct downstream from there. Then we're going to start sending more water downstream. It's a delicate balancing act that we have to do in our design.
Thank you.
Okay. I did receive another question asking whether the presentation will be posted on the project webpage, and the answer to that is yes. Tomorrow, this meeting is being recorded. The video, as well as the presentation in PDF format, will be posted on the project website by 5 p.m. tomorrow. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, seeing that everybody has provided their comments and asked their questions, and we don't have anyone else that wishes to speak, we will now conclude the meeting. Again, the official closing date for submitting your feedback is May 28th, 2025. You can submit those comments or questions via email to Mr. Pan, the project manager, or via the comment form, which can be found on the project documents tab of the project website, which is shown in red at the bottom of the slide. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Thank you.